And here we go.
It's awesome.
I'm in the mood for one of your classic anecdotes.
Give yourselves a round of applause. All right, that's enough. Yeah.
Hey guys, there is someone I want you to meet.
Dave Hooker Show with Caleb Calhoun on Off the Hook Sports, represented by T. Scott Jones. Thanks for Lincoln Studios, East Tennessee's #1 volume and customer service dealer. Ted Russell Ford and TedRussellLincoln.net.
We look, we're all part of the same team here.
Now to the Dave Hooker Show on Off the Hook Sports.
Well, just when you thought that beatdown in Columbus was over, not completely. Will Howard has got some interesting things to say to, of all people, John Gruden. That's right. Just a day after John Gruden says, hire me, Josh Heupel. I love you. Thanks for introducing me to your wife. What? Then just one day later, he's got Will Howard on, and Will Howard, the former Ohio State quarterback, is taking a shot at the University of Tennessee. Was it warranted? A big show on tap today. Stat of the day, this day in Tennessee sports history. What skill position player do you have the most faith in? That'll be Hot or Cold, brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. Nick Saban nominated for an Emmy. Well, I think that's very appropriate. I thought he did a great job. But Caleb doesn't see it that way. Also, Syracuse names its starting quarterback. What does that mean for the Vols in the opener? Tennessee in the 10 to 25 range of the way too early top 25 basketball rankings. And I'm going to tell you that that is way too low. Before we get to Will Howard's comments, Caleb Calhoun, how are you, sir?
I am good. How are you doing, Dave?
I'm fantastic. Let me get, first of all, your take of when Tennessee went out there with no shirts before the Ohio State playoff game, and it didn't work for them. They fell down 21-0 and lost handily. We're never in the game. Part of that's Dylan Sampson getting injured. But what do you think about the shenanigans of not wearing jerseys because it's cold?
Well, my thoughts are, and this is a serious thought of mine, I think it creates a distraction more than it helps. And I know this because I remember when the Titans went to play the Packers one year, and the Titans actually were good during this time. This is not the most recent Titans. One of our offensive linemen, I forget who it was, decided to walk with the hoodie and barefoot when it was snowing. And I'm like, he was doing this warm up. It was like 10 degrees and snowing outside. And he's like, I'm going to come out in just a hoodie and shorts barefoot. And I'm like, this looks like a bit of a distraction more than anything else. And everybody was talking it up, and then the Titans got waxed by the Packers. So okay. I just think that I was worried the same thing would happen here for Tennessee's sake. But truth be told, I don't think it would have made a difference. I think Tennessee was getting blown out no matter what.
Okay, what was the bigger factor? Sampson getting hurt, or the fact that Tennessee with no shirts may have riled up, and a lot of fans in the stands too. What about 30,000 Tennessee fans there at the Horseshoe? That's pretty impressive. What do you think is the bigger factor? Sampson getting hurt, or the fact that Tennessee seemed to poke the bear both from a fan and player standpoint?
I'm going to say the fact that they seem to – I'm going to say Sampson getting hurt. I think I don't think Tennessee had to poke Ohio State's bear. I think Ohio State had their own bear poked because of the way they were talked about after their loss to Michigan. I don't think there's anything Tennessee could have done.
No, they were out there to play. There's no question about it. And they knew that Michigan game was out there. The show represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, banksandjones.com. Broadcast live from the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studios. Set us up a poll question if you can, Caleb. The shirtless Vols were begging for trouble, were fired up, and wanted to show Ohio State as well. I'll let you take care of that. Today's tough question brought to you by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, banksandjones.com.
Today's tough question. Boom. You heard that. Now take it. The Dave Hooker Show with Caleb Calhoun.
All right, give me some adjectives from the message board. And Tennessee's shirtless look was, how about cheesy, gimmicky, or silly? Or what do you go with? I'm trying to come up with an optimistic point, and then we'll get to Will Howard's comments. But I'm having trouble coming up with a positive adjective to describe what they did since it went so south.
Well, yeah. So my poll question is: Vols going shirtless versus Ohio State was either epic or just begging to get blown out.
Okay, I'll go with that. I like that quite a bit. All right, so let me let's get. Can we go to Will Howard's comments? By the way,
yes, we don't want to play it because there is a bad word in the comments. To be fair,
I thought he bleeped it out.
No, they didn't bleep it out on Twitter. So, yeah.
Okay, I think we can handle this. Hold on a second. So keep talking for me.
Okay. You want me to tell you what you want me to pull it up, or
Yeah, go ahead and pull it up. But I'm gonna see if I can. Oh, I can't mute you, so you're gonna have to ride the levels there. Can you do that? Or you?
All right.
That you're
I'll give this a shot. I'll give this a shot. We'll see how if luckily we're on YouTube and maybe they won't catch this. So I'll give this a shot. This is what Will Howard said on the Gruden show about Tennessee going shirtless. I'm going to move it up just a little bit. Here we go.
Out of here, the SEC, the Tennessee Vols without their shirts. And it seemed like they were trying to intimidate you guys.
Oh, yeah. Well, the funny thing is they came out with their shirts on, or their shirts off, and they ran over to the opposite end zone and immediately put them back on. I was like, what the fuck are clowns doing, man?
There we go. All right. And then he refers to, that's good. That's good. And then he refers to Will Howard, does the former Ohio State quarterback. He refers to Tennessee as a bunch of after a female anatomy. And wow. I mean, he just came out and laid it on the Vols. I mean, even though his eligibility is up, you don't usually see this sort of thing.
No, yeah, he absolutely laid it on the Vols. You're right. He did a lot of talking. I think this is how Ohio State was. Look, Ohio State was. They clearly had this idea of we're going to lay low and be quiet for this month after being humiliated by Michigan, and we're going to take it out. We're going to take everything out on everybody. So we're not just going to beat everybody in the playoff. We're going to humiliate them, and we're going to humiliate them afterward, and we're never going to make them forget this.
Okay, so as today's tough question again, it's our poll question as well.
Will Howard's trash talking of Ohio State, and I'm going to put this up as the poll question. Was it out of bounds, or do the Vols just have to take it on the chin?
I liked your other one earlier.
Well, the other one, Vols going shirtless.
Gimmicky or epic? How about that?
Well, let's stick. Well, let's do both today's tough question. My tough question is: do the Vols need to accept Will Howard's trash talk?
Well, I mean, what are they going to do? Drive up
no
and beat the hell out of him?
No. Was it foul? Was it wrong? What do you have a problem with Will Howard's trash talk? Or do you just have to take it on the chin? But let's stick with this one for a minute. Let's stick with this one. Okay, so Vols going shirtless versus Ohio State was epic.
Or just 30-year career, but you do what you want to do.
No, wait. We'll stick with yours first. We'll do both of these. We'll stick with this one first, then we'll go to the second one. So first one, let's do both of these. Vols going shirtless versus Ohio State was epic or just begging to get blown out? I think it was just begging to get blown out. And I think you do too.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what I think after 30 seconds from Banks and Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, banksandjones.com.
Why Banks & Jones? Well, it's because they're Tennessee's trial attorney. You can play to win with Banks & Jones because they'll go to trial. You've heard of other lawyers. They say they'll go to trial and fight for you. They won't. They just want to settle. That's the easiest way out. Well, that's not Banks & Jones, led by T. Scott Jones. They won't settle. They'll go to trial for you. Tennessee's trial attorney. They play to win. Truly, Tennessee's trial attorney when it comes to criminal defense or personal injury. Why settle? It's Banks & Jones. T. Scott.
A couple things to unpack here. David says we lost, so he backed up his trash talk, Caleb. I think it's epic. And I think the fact that Dylan Sampson got hurt is the reason Tennessee was never in that game. I love the fact that they went out there and did that. Had they competed with Sampson in there at a high level, had they won the game, we'd be talking about how incredible that was. It's easy to throw off on it now, but I still think it was epic. I love the fact that they went out there and did that. I love the fact that Tennessee's fans showed up. Here's the thing that we learned. That Tennessee is not to the point where they can go in with guns a-blazing, cold out, guns out, and expect to win, especially if they lose one of their best players. Their roster is not to Ohio State's point yet. So that has nothing to do with being shirtless or not. And I think that's a close game if Sampson's never hurt. So I think it's epic. I love it. I love the fact that Tennessee's fans showed up as well. A couple of other things to unpack there. I think this clearly speaks to the Big Ten. And a guy like Will Howard, for most of his career in college, the SEC was deemed the much better conference. I think there's a little bit of that Mike Gundy style. Remember at Oklahoma State, he always had an issue. Bob Stoops did as well with the SEC, and as they thought of preferential treatment. The other thing I'll throw out there is this. Is John Gruden playing the media pimp role again? Because he's just at Tennessee, and then he does this. And yesterday he's saying that I would love to be an analyst or something at Tennessee. Caleb, and now, and listen, I understand Barstool owns this thing, but you can't tell me that he didn't say, if you stir it up a little bit, that'd be great. Because he's not on ESPN anymore. He's on Barstool Sports, and there's a difference. That's a lot to unpack, Caleb, but I just thought it was typical Gruden.
Yeah, it was. It was. You're right. It's absolutely Gruden. I mean, he probably definitely. Well, one, John Gruden set him up for that. He was like, he was talking. There was so much to talk about with Will Howard, and he specifically zoned in on Tennessee players coming out shirtless for the game. So, first of all, you would think it's epic. You have your collar popped right now, like it's 2004. So that I'm sorry, Dave. I had to take a shot at you just for fun.
You don't like that?
But, yeah. Okay. So 2005 of Dave. But anyways, John Gruden would do that. I'm still kind of stuck on it's people are saying, well, Howard backed up his trash talk, but it's funny. He didn't talk trash before the game. They just waited till after the game to do all the trash talking.
No, and Will Howard too. It's kind of a hollow shot out the door because your team doesn't likely have to face Tennessee unless they meet again in the college football playoff. So that's a little bit weak. He is making a statement that let's say Tennessee and Ohio State play again, that his former teammates are going to have to back up. He's gone. It's another thing to, I don't know. Is this different? If this is Michigan and they beat Michigan like that, is he taking that shot, Caleb, or is it convenient that Tennessee isn't on their schedule year in and year out?
Well, okay. So you're suggesting that Will Howard was a little bit out of bounds for taking this shot.
I think it's a little bit weak to take a shot at a team that you were favored to beat and you did beat and that suffered a key injury. I mean, to me, you were supposed to beat Tennessee anyway. What were they, like a 6-point favorite, I believe?
Yeah, but see, I think it's fair because of the way Tennessee talked before that game. I mean, I think if you talk, you got to take it on the chin when someone talks after they beat you. I mean, that's just kind of the rule of life. It's because, let me ask you this, Dave. You brought up Michigan. You know those Michigan players that after they beat Ohio State, they stood at the middle of the O? They were all seniors. They're not coming back.
Yes.
Do you think that was weak on their end? Because they left their other players having to deal with that next year. But it's like they never lost. They get to brag about going 4-0 against Ohio State.
Yeah, and again, I don't have a problem with anybody talking trash, especially after they back it up. But, I just, I don't know. It seems... let's put it this way. I'll put it into this analogy, and you'll be like this one day because Quincy Calhoun is about 10 months old?
Yep.
Okay, would you want Quincy Calhoun to say that? By the way, if you throw in a super chat, it goes to Quincy Calhoun's college fund. I wouldn't want my son to say that on the way out the door. To me, it looks pretty petty, and I don't know that NFL scouts are any more or less endeared to Will Howard because of this.
I mean, don't you want a little pettiness in your athletes, though? I mean, isn't that like...
We are in the day and age where everybody hugs and everybody's friends and we trade jerseys.
It's ruined the NBA. They love each other too much in the NBA. I miss the days of Larry Bird still won't say hey to Bill Laimbeer. If he runs into Bill Laimbeer today, he'd probably start fighting him.
Okay, now on our message board, this is a prevalent thought. Will Howard was not the best player on Ohio State's team this just in. Where did he rank?
Oh gosh,
he was at best 15 to 20 best player, 10 to 15.
Yeah, he was like Joe Flacco winning a Super Bowl.
Exactly. Okay, so should he talk less because of that? Because he was Trent Dilfer? Because you can use whoever you want?
No, because Will Howard absolutely did play well in that game and absolutely torched Tennessee secondary throwing the ball. It's not like it wasn't like we may not have been the best player, but he absolutely torched Tennessee in that game, and it was such a blowout. Everybody on that Ohio State team gets to talk, including the quarterback who was an integral part of that offense. I mean, I think he's allowed to talk.
Okay. Let me ask you this. If Tennessee and Ohio State meet in the playoffs this year, Do you believe that this is motivation for Tennessee? Or is this just something that's forgotten about with former players?
If this is motivation, but the 42-17 loss is not motivation, then Tennessee's got some serious problems.
Yeah, I mean, I would use it, but you're right. Your
Like-
motivation should be to win a championship.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You wrote a book on the 98 team, Dave. I think so you tell me if this is true. I think one of the best things that ever happened to them was getting blown out by Nebraska. Because even though Nebraska was on roids, so they were cheating, I still think it pushed the 98 team to get a lot stronger that all season, didn't it?
Yes. Now, GOJ, I don't know what that stands for. Will deserved, earned the right to gloat. I've got no issue with that. Rustastic said, you win, you talk. But I still think it's a little classless. A little classless.
Oh my God, you got to be classy in a win. No, you don't. Talk.
No, I'm
Talk.
for it in a content standpoint, but would you want Quincy Calhoun to say this?
If people were trolling him before him, maybe. I mean, you know, I might. I'm not going to lie. I mean,
Does Quincy Calhoun have a gambling account yet with any online gambling sites?
no, he does not.
I don't believe that. Go ahead and hit
would
that
do
like.
that.
Go ahead and hit that like button. Well, if you got another social security number, maybe you can get another one of those buy-ins. I don't know how it works.
I would never do something in my son's name and destroy his credit at 0 years old.
destroy his credit at 0. I never had a chance. It's like the name is Sue by Johnny Cash. The show represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, banksandjones.com. We broadcast live from the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studios. Man, they got them all, and the cars are on the lot, and no tariffs are involved right now because that's Ted Russell Ford Lincoln. You're going to get an incredible deal on that vehicle. You'll absolutely love it, and they're East Tennessee's largest volume dealer, so you get the best deal imaginable. It is unbelievable, absolutely. I mean, the skill position players, Tennessee in their final week of spring practice. Who do you have the most confidence in? That'll be hot or cold. But first, 30 seconds from Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studios.
Like a blast from the past, the Super Dealer is back. Look to the skies, Knoxville. The Super Dealer is fighting for price, service, and the American-made. Ted Russell Ford is East Tennessee's #1 volume Ford dealer. Save up to $4,350 on a new Ford F-150 XLT, or get into a new Ford Ranger XLT with no payments for 90 days. Come see the Super Dealer today at either Ted Russell Ford.
That's hot.
Where do you stand? Hot or cold? Brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. Integrity matters. 50 years in East Tennessee. CityHeatandAir.com. On Off the Hook Sports.
Hot or cold brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. The skill position players will break them down. Tennessee in their final week of spring camp. That has flown by, and Easter right around the corner. So, Caleb, go ahead and pick the top 4 that we can put as a poll question. Who are you highest on? Peyton Lewis has to be on there. I think Boo Carter has to be on there as well. So that gives me 2. I'll ask you 2. Then we'll play Hot or Cold, brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com, what we think of Tennessee's skill position players, as they're kind of essentially done. They're going to practice today. They had a scrimmage on Monday, and then they're not going to do really anything for the orange and white game. So I've got some intel for you concerning the Tennessee skill position players. But who are the 4 that we want to put up on the message board that you're most excited about, Caleb? I got Boo. I got Peyton. Who else are you putting up there?
I think we should go Mike Matthews, Peyton Lewis, Boo Carter, and then somebody else.
Okay. Leave it wide open for somebody else.
And
if I were going to put somebody else in there, despite the fact that he was hurt in Monday's scrimmage, it'd probably be Braylon Staley.
yeah, I agree. And we'll get to Braylon Staley as we're talking about him too. But yeah, I would consider that as somebody else too, but I want to give people a chance to just comment for anybody else they would believe. I'm closing out this poll because Dave, everybody disagrees with you just real quick. Will Howard calling Vols clowns for coming out shirtless was foul, 0%. Fair, UT must take loss on the chin, 100%.
It's painful.
Unanimous consent, Dave is wrong.
Okay.
By unanimous consent. So.
Yeah, that happens a lot, especially in my household. All right, so let me ask you this, Caleb. Let's do it like this. So compared to what you expected before spring camp to where they are now, which is essentially the end of spring camp, because I hate to tell you, they're not going to do a scrimmage in front of everybody at the orange and white game. So let's go down the list. So if you say hot, you think they lived up to their spring camp billing. Okay. If you say cold, they did not. Let's go with Mike Matthews. I'll answer that by everyone I've spoken to.
That's hot.
He had a fantastic spring. I know he held out for more money. That frustrated some people, but he lived up to it. He's bonded with Nico in California. I thought they should have played in Knoxville, but at least he's going above and beyond, Caleb, in order to build that connection with the starting quarterback. So I will say hot. I think he had a very good spring.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very hot. I've heard a lot about Mike Matthews. From what I've heard is he is uncoverable one-on-one. Now, maybe that's a knock on Tennessee's quarterbacks. Who knows? It could be that too, but I hear he looks impossible to cover one-on-one, honestly. And so I am scorching on Mike Matthews more than anybody else on here.
Okay. And then, so we both agree.
That's hot.
Yes. All right. And then Chris Brazel the second. Your thoughts on Brazel?
Chris Brazel. I'm cold on him, not like as a knock, but he didn't there's nothing about him that stood out to make me think he's better than I thought he was going into spring. So I wasn't pleasantly shocked or anything by what he did.
Yeah. Is there a lukewarm option? Because that's probably what I would be on him. And then coming up next, Braylon Staley, that figures to be the third quarterback as Tennessee rolls it out there for the fall, opening with Syracuse. Syracuse names its quarterback starter. We'll get to that. But I'll remind you that Hot or Cold brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
All right, so Braylon Staley is next. This is if somebody misses the final scrimmage of spring camp, it either means they're doing just fine and they don't really need that work, or it means they're legitimately injured. Either way, I'm going to say not closing out. You got to be cold on him, but I think he's fine for preseason camp, and most of these guys are.
Yeah, I agree, but you got to be cold on him because he couldn't show much. But though, Dave, I'm going to say this: I'm hot on him. I mean, I know he was held out for a lot of times, but the way Josh Heupel talked about him, it sounds like he's figured it out and things have clicked. And the only reason that I am less hot on Boo Carter, who we'll get to in a minute, but the only reason I haven't been as gung-ho in the last week on Boo Carter being on offense the way I was in the first 2 weeks of spring camp is because of things I've heard about Braylon Staley. I've heard that he is doing really, really, really well.
Okay, Peyton Lewis.
That's hot. That's hot. That's hot.
I'm telling you, the guy's going to be really, really good. From everything I hear from people, he has taken that next step. I think a lot of people expected that step to be before the season last year, but he had a hip injury and then I think a shoulder. You might want to check me on that. But he was not cleared until just about a week before preseason camp. And, Josh Heupel doesn't play a lot of first-year players. He's lived up to the billing. I think he can have a fantastic year. And I believe, no offense to Deshaun Bishop, Lewis will be Tennessee's leading rusher this season.
Yeah, I'm hot on Peyton Lewis. I'm very hot on Peyton Lewis.
Hot.
I firmly believe in him. I had a little bit of doubt after the Ohio State game because it didn't seem like he was able to offset the loss of Dylan Sampson, which I thought was kind of a red flag because it was late in the year and you're a freshman. Yes, I get it, but you're a running back. Running backs shouldn't have to figure things out. But maybe maybe he never got into full football shape because of that injury at the beginning of the year. But I think he's been making a splash this spring.
Yep. All right. What about Deshaun Bishop? I actually think that he has gone from a guy who I questioned in spring camp. Was he one of those guys that was just taking up spring carries to a guy that didn't need to play or practice much in spring camp? So I'm hot on him.
That's hot.
But not because really anything he did in spring. I just think he's to the point where he's proven enough where he didn't have to go out there and practice 120 snaps a day.
Yeah, no, I'm hot on Deshaun Bishop. I'm pretty.
Whoa! I didn't think you'd go there.
No, you know what changed me is Brew McCoy during the NFL Combine was asked about players remaining on Tennessee who he said that Tennessee fans should be high on, and his first name was Deshaun Bishop. And people are saying that he's going to put on, I've heard that they're expecting him to put on more weight this offseason, and that they think he can actually maintain his athleticism if he puts on that weight. We'll see. But if he does, given how hard he runs, I mean, that would be a really good sign. Steve's right. Bishop does run with heart. I mean, Dave, if you think about it, one of the things that stood out, this is one of the drawbacks with Peyton Lewis that we haven't seen yet. Half of Dylan Sampson's success last year was just how hard he ran, wasn't it? And
fearless. Both,
yeah.
I would say heart means that you run hard to me, Steve. I'm going to split hairs with you a little bit. I think fearless, because when you put a foot in the ground and you make one cut, you could easily get the bejesus knocked out of you. And those guys are not afraid of that. And they had taken some good licks. They took some good licks last year, and it didn't slow them down.
It's why everybody became more of a fan of Travis Henry than Jamal Lewis in the late 90s. Even though Jamal Lewis was better, I think you and I both agree Jamal Lewis was better. I don't think Travis Henry ever let more than one. I think Travis Henry never let one person tackle him, did he?
No. And David says Deshaun Bishop is our running back number 1 till Lewis shows he's better. I don't think that will take long. I think
that might have already happened.
Yeah, I think you pay Bishop the respect of being the starter. And yes, he's running back 1 headed into fall. And that sounds all good and everything, but it's kind of like when you lie to your kids about Santa Claus. Sometimes the truth isn't really in a big red and white fluffy suit.
No. Very true.
All right. So who else? Hot or cold? Boo Carter. This might surprise you.
That's hot.
Because of my expectations, I think he'll touch the ball about 20 times this year. So based off my expectations, he's lived up to that. Your expectations are greater. So even though you like him a lot and what he could do, you might actually be cold on him. I'll leave that up to you.
Yeah. So here's the funny thing. I'm cold on Boo Carter because this is comparing where we are on him now to where we were at the start of spring. My hype for Boo Carter was all about things I learned about him in January and February, not spring practice. As spring practice continued on, we didn't hear as much about him. So I still think he's going to be a factor in the offense, but I thought that before spring, nothing changed. And Braylon Staley getting shout outs made me think he'll be a little bit less of a factor. So I'm hot on Boo Carter. I mean, I'm hot on Boo Carter overall. Cold on him relative to spring practice.
Okay, I can see that. I'm actually hot on him, so we're exact opposite. I want to get back to just for a second, Peyton Lewis and Deshaun Bishop. Do you owe it to Bishop to run him out there as the starter? By the way, Steve hit it right on the nail on the head. Hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you. We appreciate that. Do you give Bishop the benefit of the doubt, or you strictly, hey, this guy's more physically gifted? Because nothing against Bishop, but there's a guy that's much more physically gifted. His name's Peyton Lewis.
No, you got to go with the more physically gifted. I mean, look, heart can overcome, someone else's physical gifts. So, I mean, you go for production more than anything else. I do believe that. I mean, it's the.
But I'm just talking about who trots out there. Like, let's say they think that Peyton Lewis is a better tailback, but it's close because Bishop knows pass protection or whatever. Do you run Bishop out there? It's Syracuse, so it's not like it's Chattanooga. If it was Chattanooga, you definitely run Bishop out there, right?
Right.
He's earned the right to run out there first. But given the fact that it's at least a semi-competent opponent, I want every snap I've got. So I got to put my arm around Deshaun Bishop and say, bud, I love you, but I'm sorry. This ain't working out. We're going to have to go with Peyton.
Here's the question, though. Is Peyton better? I mean, Peyton's better than Deshaun Bishop, all things being equal. But is Peyton Lewis better than Deshaun Bishop if Peyton Lewis does not run as hard as Deshaun Bishop? Without, you know what I mean? Can the effort...
In other words, was Travis Henry better because he ran hard than Jamal Lewis, who didn't and protected himself at times?
In 99, I don't think it's a question. Travis Henry was better than Jamal Lewis. There wasn't even there's no debate.
No,
on that.
Question. One of those guys that backfield I've been told was a stone during the Kentucky game, but I want yeah, go ahead.
So can the effort factor put Deshaun Bishop ahead of Peyton, make him better than Peyton Lewis?
I don't think so because there's about 25 pounds of difference, probably 3 inches.
So you think if Peyton Lewis just plays 75% of effort, he's better than Deshaun Bishop? Like, what percent of effort does Peyton Lewis have to give to be better than Deshaun Bishop?
I've never seen a running back other than one. I'm not going to name him here that didn't show effort. It's because he didn't like the physicality of the game. So I
think I know who you're talking about because I think we've already talked about him in the past.
Yeah, I mean, as they say in Maynardville, I think that's a mute point. So I don't think that's gonna happen.
No, I
Running
don't
backs
mean
have to run harder. They get the hell beat out of them.
No, I get that, but there's running hard and hitting the minimal level of effort, but then there is the players that run extremely hard. Like we just said, Travis Henry gave more effort than Jamal Lewis. That means Jamal Lewis didn't give 100%. So
right, but in this case, Jamal was the more talented tailback. I just don't think you're going to have an issue. I think running backs pulled themselves out of games, Jamal. I don't think they just run.
Right, okay, but they run hard, but then there's other running backs that run harder. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, okay, another one. Montario Hardesty ran harder.
A reach. Go ahead.
Montario Hardesty ran harder than Arian Foster. Everybody saw it
Yes.
when he played at Tennessee. So what I mean is, can Deshaun Bishop's hard running harder than Peyton Lewis make him a better back, make him more productive, even if Peyton Lewis is the better back talent-wise?
Okay. Well, Dylan says, yes, possibly. Dylan says, I haven't heard a thing from Star Thomas since he committed. Kind of worrisome. Let me tell you guys, this is the same thing as that T. Lynn J. Dixon or whatever his name was. They're going to go out and they're going to get some guys to supplement. And this is the smartest way to do it because you have your core of running backs, which would be the Jabari Smalls of the world, the Jalen Wrights of the world. I believe Peyton Lewis will be that guy. Deshaun Bishop will be that guy that you bring up through the high school ranks and you bring up through your program. But you occasionally need some dudes to take up some practice snaps, especially in spring camp where your running back can basically do only one thing and get hurt. So I'm not saying Star Thomas is a bust. I don't think that's the case, but I think he's a filler running back like T. Lynn J. Dixon, who got in trouble and was out after 2 weeks.
It's Lynn J. Dixon.
Yeah, whatever. Dixon J.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot to mention Star Thomas, so let's just drop him in. Are we hot or cold on him?
I'm fine. I mean, I think he's a guy until I hear different. It's just there to take up practice snaps.
Yeah, I'm cold on him too. I'm totally with you. So now going to it.
But see, these guys used to be. See, I would rather have a Star Thomas though than they used to be walk-ons. Like, who remembers David Yancey, Kirsten Biggers? Anybody remember those names? Yeah, they had big springs. I would rather have a talented guy from Duke than I would have a walk-on gobbling up those snaps. So I would say then
that's hot.
That being said, I'm hot. I don't think he's blown anybody's doors off, but I think he's been solid.
Okay. All right, I can go with that, but I'm kind of cool because I feel like Deshaun Bishop would take those. I mean, just from an effort perspective, that's where you feel like Deshaun Bishop's earned the right at least over Star Thomas, hasn't he?
Yes. Okay, somebody's telling me they're having problems with the audio. So let me know on that if you don't care on the message board. We seem to be clear on my end, so I'm not really sure. Dylan says, Nathaniel, leave the video and come back and it should work. YouTube has a stupid glitch. Good. So it's not Caleb's fault. He has a job for another day. It is time for the stat of the day. Speaking of the day, I'm kidding, Caleb. We're negotiating a new long-term contract. Boom.
Stat of the day. They never lie. Or do they? Stat of the day. The Dave Hooker Show with Caleb Calhoun. Off the Hook Sports.
Stat of the day brought to you by Hound Dogs of Knoxville. Champions look good in orange. HDKnoxville.com. HDKnoxville.com. Also, our friends at Newbert Collision Center. For nearly 50 years, Newbert Collision Center has been East Tennessee's best choice for quality repair work and fantastic customer service. JoeNewbertCollision.com. JoeNewbertCollision.com. By the way, I was looking at they've got some really nice baseball jerseys at HDKnoxville.com. Use the promo code HOOK to get 10% off. I mean, they are sharp, like the all orange with the cursive writing. Really nice, and they're already on sale. So, Caleb, stat of the day is what?
Tennessee basketball finished 5th in the final coaches poll ranking and AP poll ranking this week.
Mm-hmm.
That ties the highest the program ever finished with 5th place with number 5 last year. It's the first time ever they have finished in the top 10 of the final post NCAA tournament basketball rankings 2 years in a row. and they did it in the top, and they finished in the top 5 both those years.
Let me ask you a question. Tennessee fans that you talk to, what's Tennessee done over the past 5 years in the NCAA tournament?
First round exit, second round exit, Sweet 16, Elite 8, Elite 8.
Okay. Do you think that most Tennessee fans would take that replicated 5 years, exactly what you mentioned, or do you think they'd go to the tables and say, I'm gambling because I want a Final Four? Because I'll tell you right now, that sounds impressive, and it is impressive, but I'm going to the tables. Maybe I'm a gambler by heart, but I'm saying no. You keep 2 Elite 8 bids and going to the tournament every year and a Sweet 16 bid. I'm going all in for one Final Four. You take the bird in the hand or the 2 in the bush?
Mm-hmm. See, that's tough given Tennessee basketball's history.
I know.
I mean, like,
I'm probably going to crap out. I'm probably going to bust. I'm probably out. But that's what I'm doing. For me, the Final Four is so much different. You've got 5 opportunities to make it with a really solid coach.
I used to think in the past that Tennessee wasn't satisfied with success and went to the craps table, but things I've learned from you is no, it's the reverse. They just genuinely didn't care about basketball even when they were winning, the athletics department. So, like, they could be winning and Doug Dickey be like, I don't care. No money for you. No support for you.
Well, I remember it being an issue that Doug Dickey didn't show up at games very often.
Yeah, the only thing Doug Dickey ever did was he called a press conference to criticize the person who called the reporter who called Tony Harris a punk.
Yes.
Doug Dickey did.
And that was also a dreaded vote of confidence press conference. Because remember, it was like, I can't believe a journalist did that, talking about the late Gary Lundy. By the way, have I told you how he accepted that and what grace he did that with? Tony Harris argued that punk was a homosexual term. And I'd never heard that to that point, hadn't heard that then. But I remember Gary Lundy saying on the radio show that I was producing at the time that he should know every possible definition of that word, and he took full blame, even though he wrote nothing wrong. It was also the dreaded vote of confidence for Jerry Green. You're not going to have that with Rick Barnes, but if you give me 5 more years of Rick Barnes, I'm going to the craps table and believe that I can get to the Final Four. I believe Rick Barnes, given 5 more years, will get to the Final Four at Tennessee. I do too. I think he'll get to the Final Four in 5 more years too. But I would not go. What I would not do is go to the craps table and toss Rick Barnes for the better chance of getting to the Final Four. No. I didn't mean that. Mean that. No, I certainly didn't mean that at all. All right, give us an update on our poll question, Caleb. I think I accidentally killed it. You might have to help me out.
Why did you kill it, Dave? Which Tennessee skill position player are you most excited about? There were 21 voters. It is by a plurality. Boo Carter at 42%. Dave, they're still high on Boo, baby. Mike Matthews 38%. Peyton Lewis and somebody else each tied for 9%.
Okay. It also is National Unicorn Day. So unicorns are cool, kind of weird. Which would you go with?
Cool. They're an integral part of the Harry Potter series.
Kind of weird that Caleb likes them so much as well. The show represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, banksandjones.com. Coming up, some guy named Madden Maliava is doing really well for an SEC team that the Vols might face. We'll discuss that. Also, coming up on the program, we will get to this day in sports, Tennessee sports history. Lane Kiffin post a sentimental tweet referring back to his time at UT. Oh, Knox. Did you know, actually, a lot of people don't know this. His son's name's Knox, but that was a coincidence, right? That's what he told everybody. It was a coincidence that it had nothing to do with Knoxville. It was because of some soap opera that his wife watched. But the strange part is that his daughter is named Powell and his other son is named Sevierville. He's Caleb Calhoun. I'm Dave Hooker. The show represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, banksandjones.com. What's Lane got to say? Click that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you hadn't. Stay tuned. This is a presentation of Off the Hook Sports.
Why Banks & Jones? Well, it's because they're Tennessee's trial attorney. You can play to win with Banks & Jones because they'll go to trial. You've heard of other lawyers. They say they'll go to trial and fight for you. They won't. They just want to settle. That's the easiest way out. Well, that's not Banks & Jones, led by T. Scott Jones. They won't settle. They'll go to trial for you. Tennessee's trial attorney. They play to win. Truly, Tennessee's trial attorney when it comes to criminal defense or personal injury. Why settle? It's Banks & Jones. T. Scott Jones, banksandjones.com.
Now in its 45th year, the second and third generations continue Joe Newbert's commitment.
His vision of what this business needed to be, we still try to live up to that.
Joe Newbert Collision Center.
Community banking is about location and much more. It's about family. We reside in your community. We are a part of your community. At Commercial Bank, our commitment extends beyond the walls of our branches. It's displayed each day in the opportunities we provide, the money we give back, and the time we commit, all to help improve the lives of the people, families, and businesses that make our communities great. Commercial Bank, life made better.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
Dare to compare.
Are you ready to get strong? At NFC, we offer top-notch weight training and functional fitness, so you can build strength and improve your performance. Join today at nfc1.com or stop by any one of our
Frank, like the name, but serious or something. The Dave Hooker Show with Kayla Calhoun, represented by T. Scott Jones, banksandjones.com, Tennessee's trial attorney. From the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studio, East Tennessee's #1 volume and customer service dealer, Ted Russell Ford and TedRussellLincoln.net. Now to the Dave Hooker Show on Off the Hook Sports.
Welcome back to that moment when you realize, woo, the coffee is a little hotter than you thought. Oh, wow. All right. So on board right now, we've got everybody having fun with Knox Kiffin and the name. Do you know who's the first to ever get Knox Kiffin on the radio, by the way?
Who?
It was me.
Really?
And interviewed Knox for a moment, and Lane asked for the audio, so I sent it to him. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Too bad he didn't get Layla.
Yeah. It is too bad. All right. Dylan says Merville Kiffin. She is stunning in person. I don't get nervous around women very often, but she would be one of them. Hit that like and subscribe button right now. I mean, she really is. So go ahead and get on board now.
I'm sorry. What? The comment. Look at Dylan's comment. I put it up.
Yeah, we've been there. So yeah, that there was no Trojan Jews, or Kiffin wouldn't be around. All right. So what did Lane Kiffin have to say about Tennessee?
Lane Kiffin tweeted, and somewhat sentimental because it involves his late father, who I'm sure he misses. But of all the things sentimental he tweeted regarding his late father, he tweeted a picture of bobbleheads, a throwback picture of bobbleheads of him and his father wearing Tennessee outfits with a First Tennessee Bank logo. I'm sharing it with you guys now, and put little hearts on it. This was what Lane Kiffin tweeted yesterday. It was this photo.
Okay, who are they? It's Lane.
That's Lane and his father, Monty.
Monty looks like he's about 50 years younger than when Tennessee hired him.
Yeah, exactly. And this is when they were coaching at Tennessee together. And again, the basic message would be, oh, Lane Kiffin's tweeting a sentimental thing about his father. But it's like, there's probably 1,000 different sentimental things related to his father and his time with his father. And he chose one specifically connected to their time at Tennessee together.
Okay, I don't believe that this is a coincidence. I believe there are 3 jobs that Lane Kiffin believes he can get, and he would take in a heartbeat. I think it's LSU. I think it's Florida. I think it's Tennessee. If Josh Heupel, if he were to be named the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys tomorrow, Lane Kiffin would call Jimmy Sexton and get involved in that coaching search. My question, and we're going to make it a poll question, would you ever hire Lane Kiffin back? What do you think most fans will say? Don't give me your take, because I certainly would. I'm not emotionally tied, though, like a lot of our listeners and viewers. I would no question. I mean, that's To me, that's a cinch. I think he's that good of an offensive coach. But do you think the fan base would? I'm going to say no, but I'm going to put it up as a poll question.
I think no, but it's a little more no now than it was actually about 9 years ago during the Butch Jones saga. First off, I'm going to tell you guys this straight up. Dave, you're more tight end, so you probably know this better than I do. With that whole Schiano disaster coaching search, I kind of know from a couple people Lane Kiffin was really seeing if he could get that job back at Tennessee.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I think he's been involved in all of them. He would have been at FAU, right?
He was going to FAU at the time. He was at FAU. He was at Florida Atlantic, and he had just won the Conference USA title at Florida Atlantic. Telling you, he was working his angle to get that job, and he was a candidate. And the only reason Tennessee wasn't going to hire him was, one, the PR backlash, but two, former orchestrated the athletic director coup. There was a negative 75%. There was a negative 1,000% chance Philip Fulmer would ever hire Lane Kiffin for anything.
Well, yeah, let's remember this too. Lane Kiffin, I mean, this is just a fact. He angled for the Tennessee job while there was still a coach in place. Now, coaches typically in their fraternity, they very much, Caleb, say that is not the direction to go. You don't go shooting for somebody's job. But I can tell you he did. And he leveraged the Washington job for Tennessee to get Fulmer fired in the middle of the season. So factor that in when you fill in the poll question. And the poll question is, wow, 50-50 right down the middle. Would you ever hire Lane back? Yes, too good of a coach. No, just too painful. That's pretty strong. The poll question continues, brought to you by Double D Piping.
Double D Piping provides full-service fire protection on any scale. From residential homes to government facilities, we can assist any customer through design, fabrication, installation, inspection, and demonstration of fire suppression systems. With 30 years of service across 5 states and a full staff with over 40 years experience, our quality can't be beaten. Don't get caught watching what you could have prevented. Call Double D Piping.
Okay, some of that's cropping up on the message board. I want to go ahead and shoot it right down. Guys, if Lane Kiffin ever came back to Tennessee, he would not leave until he won a championship and maybe the NFL can call him. Okay, he realizes what has happened. You've got to trust me. He realized what has happened in the way he left and the fact that it led his career pragmatically to bad places, but also hurt his reputation. I will say this, and Derek says, don't fool me twice. I'm telling you, if he ever came back to Tennessee, he wouldn't leave until he won a championship.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Look, for those who don't remember,
Sure I'm right.
Lane Kiffin was dead in the water until Nick Saban saved his career. Let's not forget what had happened. Tennessee, that was strike 2 with the way he left, wasn't it? Because strike 1 was the way he left the Raiders, wasn't it? And that was not a good. I mean, Al Davis just straight up called him a liar.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. But
yes.
Had that been any other NFL owner, it would have carried more weight. But the fact that it's crazy Al Davis makes
no one took it seriously because it was Al Davis. And Lane Kiffin, he took a ton of parting shots at Al Davis himself too, remember?
Oh, yeah, it was bad.
It was a very bad breakup. So that happened. And then the way he left Tennessee happened. And then he got fired by USC on the tarmac. And so it was kind of like just bang, bang, bang. And so I think he was very, very humbled, honestly. And getting the hire from Nick Saban, like, really did save his career in I mean, we talk about the Nick Saban resurrection school. No one got it better than Lane Kiffin. And so I think that you're right. I don't think he would leave Tennessee again. I don't think he would ever leave unless he and his former wife are truly back together. And, look, let's just call it what it is. She prefers California.
I don't think they're back. I don't know. I'm not going to factor that in.
Can we be honest? Isn't half the reason he took the USC job is his wife wanted to go back to the beach.
I don't know. But she might, there at San Bernardino, she might just blend in the sand volleyball capital of the world.
And I mean, Dave,
she wouldn't be the only bit of talent on the beach.
Yeah, maybe Lane liked the view of all the talent on the beach, including his wife.
I'm sure he did. He found some talented ones around Knoxville as well. All right, give me the strongest reason why you wouldn't hire Lane Kiffin. I'm going to answer it with this. And again, I'm looking at this pragmatic.
You never asked me first on whether or not I would.
Hold on. So I'm going to give you my one reason. he's not going to recruit to Kirby Smart's level. I don't believe he's that type of worker, and I believe you need that. Can you manufacture some? Can you manufacture some points with that offense with less talent? Yes, but I think at the end of the day, you have to have close to as much talent, and I don't think Tennessee ever would, and I don't think Tennessee would win a championship, and he'd end up disgraced and fired.
Wait, let me back up for a minute. You don't think he has the work ethic? I remember his 1 year at Tennessee, Dave. He was working around the clock on recruiting during that time. I don't think anybody worked harder in recruiting, did they, than Lane Kiffin?
I think there's a difference between working hard and stroking a check.
He was sending helicopters to high school football games.
Yeah. They only saw like 3 schools that night.
Are you saying he was going for headline? Are you saying it was headlines more than anything else?
I'm telling you that I was in Atlanta writing about it, so I positively can tell you it was about headlines.
Okay, all right. I could believe you on that. I mean, his staff at the time worked hard at recruiting. Because I mean, whatever you think about Ed Orgeron, he's a hard worker when it comes to recruiting, isn't he?
Yes, but that was a perfect storm. You also had Frank Wilson, you had Eddie Gran. Those of you that are really into football coaches, I mean, those guys are solid recruiters.
Lance Thompson,
I almost forgot. Yeah, I mean, you that was a perfect storm. You had a really good staff on hand from a recruiting perspective. I don't think that he would have the same sort of staff. I mean, the only dead weight on that staff was his brother-in-law, which was David Reeves,
who almost made Jonathan Crompton like inexplicably worse.
I mean, did anybody notice? Okay, I don't mind sharing this now, but did anybody notice how Jonathan Crompton was suddenly better midway through the season? Well, let's just say that one reporter happened to ask one coach, "Hey, it seems like you've been spending more time with him," and the coach responded, "I don't want to comment on that because it would make David look bad." So, you would have good quarterback play because Jonathan Crompton was resurrected in the second half of the senior season when nobody thought that would happen.
The only time as a starter he got good coaching. Because Jonathan Crompton, I mean, Dave Clawson wasn't a fit for Jonathan Crompton. That was not his fault at all. And then what you're saying, it was even worse with David Reeves. Now, it's my thing with Lane Kiffin about the biggest reason I wouldn't hire him back more than anything is I'm not trying to be old school, like, oh, discipline, you got to be this way. But I'm like, I think Lane is still where he's not that different from 2009, is totally nonchalant about character issues involving players. And I think that gets in the way of winning a championship. I know Florida, people are going to bring up Florida winning 2 in 3 years. By the way, I'm sure if, Aaron Hernandez is really looking down on his alma mater after winning that national title the other day, Dave.
Hey, but I want to bring this up to you. Have you noticed players other than Georgia are not getting in trouble as often? Do you think that maybe there's less backlash because I'm not getting paid and you're getting paid $4 million as my coach, and I've also got my reputation to look out for? I mean, at the end of the day, you can make somebody run or you can suspend them for the game, but most people are going to be more affected by what? Money, right? So if you go out there and you do something stupid, you're going to lose that Mercedes-Benz sponsorship, and you don't want to do that.
That's a good point. No, I think that's a great point. I think that is something about why less players are getting in trouble. But like, there's still chemistry factors involved. And I don't think Lane Kiffin's never going to have. I mean, maybe he will though. I mean, do you think he could have a team of like just bad boys that feed off being like the bad guys, and then they feed off that, and that's how they go win a title? Like think the 80s.
Well,
Hurricanes?
I think it could go either way. Let's use basketball. Auburn's basketball team got in a fight during a flight one time, and they ended up making the Final Four. Kansas's basketball team never got along, and they ended up falling apart in the second round. So it can go either way.
And that's the thing. That would be my one reservation with Lane Kiffin, but I can't say for sure it would work against him. I break with you because like I do think Lane would he would work hard or he would make sure people around him worked hard in recruiting. And I mean, God, can I say this? I prefer his offensive mind to Josh Heupel's. I think he's a better offensive coach.
I would agree with that.
Like, I mean,
or make that a poll question. Make that a
who's
poll.
a better offensive coach?
Yes. David says Lane takes LSU or Florida if things go south for either team. totally agree. He wanted the LSU job. The idea was to keep, at the time when they were going to Brian Kelly, the idea was to keep Ed Orgeron. And let's just say that there were some ladies there in the Baton Rouge area that thought that wouldn't be a good idea. And their husbands thought it would be an even worse idea.
What, for Lane? That's what happened?
For Ed Orgeron to hang out for another couple of years.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, man, that would be.
You want to work out together?
By the way, for the record, guys, that's what Ed Orgeron said to a booster's wife who was pregnant. Yes. He said, he rolls up at a gas station and said, "You look like you work out. You want to work out together?"
See my hip thrust? Has some good hip thrust.
She said, "I'm pregnant and married," and he goes, "Well, what's that got to do with anything?"
Yeah. So he was ready to move.
But by the way, if Lane Kiffin goes to Florida, and Ed Orgeron gets hired there, I just want that, Dave. I want that for myself. Come on. That's too perfect, right?
That's pretty good. All right. Would you ever hire Lane back? The majority, about 2/3, said no, they would not. Just too painful. Now we're on a new poll question. And it's interesting because I would expect our fan base to be slightly askewed and not be objective. And right now, Josh Heupel's only getting 58% of the vote. So you're playing a hometown crowd and you're just getting 58% of the vote.
Yeah. This is like borderline like when presidential candidates can't carry their home state when they're running.
Dylan says both Heupel and Kiffin are guilty of having a game where they completely fall apart.
But yes, that is where the chemistry factor came with Kiffin last year, where Kiffin couldn't keep his players mentally ready to handle success. They were in the college football playoff, and all they had to do was beat Florida, and they blew it. So that is a big knock on Kiffin. Heupel is guilty of that too, to this point. I can't pretend he's not. But Dave, I tell me this. Isn't that just a drawback of offensive coaches in football in general? If you're an offensive-minded coach, you're going to have a game where your offense isn't clicking, right? I mean, let's go back to the Florida. I mean, Spurrier at Florida pretty much every year dropped a game he shouldn't have, right?
Right.
When he was at Florida. And so that's just how it works for offensive juggernaut programs.
All right. It is time for this day in Tennessee sports history. Hit that thumbs up button, please. With Caleb Calhoun, I'm Dave Hooker.
This day in Tennessee sports history.
It's cool, baby. It's cool.
Now you know, and knowing is half the battle. The Dave Hooker Show with Caleb Calhoun. Off the Hook Sports.
It's brought to you by our friends at Quality Tire Pro, serving Chattanooga's community since 1957. All major brands of tires, full service, automotive, brakes, alignments, oil changes, and more. The link is right down below, qualitytirepros.com, qualitytirepros.com. Caleb, this day in Tennessee sports history is...
We're going to send a happy birthday, actually, out to one Sam Ewing in the College Baseball Hall of Fame from Lewisburg, Tennessee, was an outfielder and a DH for the Vols, was an All-American, hit .412 for his career, hit .464 his junior year at Tennessee, and then ended up playing in the majors for the White Sox and the Blue Jays. I think crossed paths in baseball with Condrich Holloway for 1 year, who also played baseball in the 70s.
Okay.
He is 76 years old today.
Okay. Good stuff. And the other question we have, unicorns, cool or not? And Caleb thinks unicorns are the coolest. That makes me think of that scene from Dodgeball. Like if I go to your home, is your...
Oh my God, that girl with the unicorns?
Yeah, is your bedroom full of unicorns?
No, it is not. Here's my question. Guns or grenades? It's a John Morant question. Can I just tell you a quick funny story, Dave? Did you hear what happened?
No. Does he have a grenade?
No. So basically, John Morant did this. This is something all the kids do, like they're pulling a trigger. You know what I mean? Yes. In games, John Morant did it about a week ago, and the NBA was like, "Hey, man, please, like, don't do that. Like, you other people can do it, but you got in trouble with guns. Don't do it." John Morant got mad that the NBA told him not to do it, so he did it again in another game. And then he got fined $75,000 for doing it. And then last night, after hitting a shot, because he can't do the gun gesture, he did a grenade gesture. So he acted like he took off a grenade and threw it into the crowd.
It's not good. What if he does like a big bazooka, like he's got it up on his shoulder? David says about 25% of thumbs up. Let's pump those numbers, y'all. Let's hit that thumbs up button. And Nathaniel says Caleb has an oil painting of him taking a unicorn by the horn.
No.
What?
Lick and subscribe, Orange Blood.
Do that too.
Lick and subscribe.
Yes, go ahead and lick and subscribe. All right, so I can't get these stupid things to go away.
It's a metaphor, but it really happened.
Yes. All right. So, by the way, new poll question: the cooler horse, is it Pegasus or is it a unicorn? Pegasus can fly.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
It has wings. What do you think it did?
I'm thinking of a centaur, but kind of but I think they're the same type of thing. But I would go probably. See, Pegasus can fly, but unicorn hair and blood is magic.
Nerd alert. All right. The show represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, banksandjones.com. We broadcast live from the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studios. In just 2 minutes, Madden Iamaleava is making a push in an SEC camp. Also, Nick Saban nominated for an Emmy. Syracuse is named a starting quarterback, so a lot to get to. 2 minutes off Look Sports.
It's a new year, a new day, and Ted Russell Lincoln has an exciting new offer to share. Right now, get a 2024 Lincoln Navigator with 0% APR for 72 months and up to $4,000 in bonus cash. Or drive away in a new 2024 Lincoln Corsair Grand Touring with 0% APR for 60 months and up to $4,500 in bonus cash. It's time to get excited about the ride. Come and see what a luxury car experience truly is at Ted Russell Lincoln Knoxville.
Now in its 45th year, the second and third generations continue Joe Newbert's commitment.
His vision of what this business needed to be, we still try to live up to that.
Joe Newbert Collision Center.
Having been in the jewelry industry for a long time in the Knoxville community, I saw a need for a jeweler, a real jeweler.
Our ability to do these designs has really been based on the customers bringing new things in and challenging us as a store. Our goal is not to tell anybody what they want. Our goal is to listen to what they want and then help them get there.
Schedule your consultation today to get your special someone the perfect custom gift just in time for the holidays.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
Dare to compare.
Double D Piping provides full-service fire protection on any scale. From residential homes to government facilities, we can assist any customer through design, fabrication, installation, inspection, and demonstration of fire suppression systems. With 30 years of service across 5 states and a full staff with over 40 years experience, our quality can't be beaten. Don't get caught watching what you could have prevented. Call Double D Piping.
Ginger Power, the Dave Hooker Show with Caleb Calhoun. Represented by T. Scott Jones, banksandjones.com, Tennessee's trial attorney. From the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studio, East Tennessee's #1 volume and customer service dealer, Ted Russell Ford and TedRussellLincoln.net. Now to the Dave Hooker Show on Off the Hook Sports.
Apparently, Derek says Pegasus etymology was more than likely a flying machine. Okay. It's National Unicorn Day, so what's cooler, Pegasus or a unicorn? Nathaniel says, are multiple Pegasus a group of Pegasi? I think they are. Are they Pegasi?
I would assume. I think Dave is just into Pegasi because hookers like getting pegged.
Very strange thing to say there, Caleb. I'm surprised and troubled. All right, so what the H is now, and we're going to go ahead and get to that, and it's brought to you by our friends at Sports Treasures.
What?
Oh, no, we got problems. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into this. Brought to you by Sports Treasures. Madden Iamaleava is participating incredibly well in spring camp for the University of Arkansas. Now, we'll see if ultimately he can rise up and bench Taylor Green. But at this point, he's just looking really good. Now, it's spring camp. You do have a fresh offensive coordinator in Bobby Petrino. No, this is year 2 for him, right?
Yeah, it's year 2.
Okay. So there's no question they're calling him a special talent. Bobby Petrino said, quote, Madden's a special talent now. He can really get the ball out of his hands. He sees stuff and has a great quick release. I know there's times he drops back and he doesn't know what the play is, but somebody pops open, he can stick it and put it right on their hands. Continued, the last guy that I coached that did that a lot as a true freshman was Lamar Jackson, who was a Heisman Trophy winner at Louisville and Baltimore Ravens starting quarterback now. The quote continued, Petrino, you know where you don't see anything, but all of a sudden they throw a post for a touchdown. Everybody's going, damn, how did he see that? That wasn't even in his progression. Now, do we need him to know the plays? There's no question about that. But ability is something that is hard to coach, and his vision is just something that's really good. Is Bobby Petrino doing a better job of coaching his Iamaleava than Tennessee is in coaching theirs?
Well, I think yes, that would naturally be the case because I think Bobby Petrino, whatever else you think of him, is a better coach of quarterbacks. It's a more proven quarterbacks coach than Heupel is to this point. Bobby Petrino's done it much longer. I think also, let's look at this. Madden may just be better. And I hate to go there, but let's point this out. Dave, you want to know the only reason? Let's think about this for a minute. What's probably the one thing that gave Nico the extra star over Madden?
I don't know.
The 3 inches of height.
Okay.
I think that's it. I think with the way the game has trended, though, like 6'3" versus 6'6" is overrated. You
Well,
can still
and
see the field.
Yeah, and I'm gonna agree. I'm kind of gonna agree and disagree at the same time. The height thing is way overrated. Now you can't be 5'9", but as long as you're around 6 foot, you're throwing through windows. You're not throwing over top of people. That's such a stupid argument that people have made for like 30 years, and it's just dumb. You throw through passing lanes.
Right. Exactly. So I think recruiting services value that. What if Madden was better across the board, but it was just only slightly, and then they gave the edge to Nico because of the height, and that's where he got the extra star? I mean, I think it's very possible Madden's a better quarterback than Nico Iamaleava. Now, at the same time, to draw back on this for a minute. I think it's very possible. I'm going to read a little bit further into this. For those who don't know, Bobby Petrino is the biggest liar in the history of college football. I mean, he's
saying something.
Yes, he makes Urban Meyer look like a saint. Okay, he is a career liar. We also know Bobby Petrino would love to return to being the head coach of Arkansas, wouldn't he? Would just love it. I think Bobby Petrino is saying the Lamar Jackson thing to say, look, if Arkansas has another good year and he's a good offensive coordinator, he could maybe go back after this year and say, I might be able to go somewhere else. You guys hire me as a head coach. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that they would have gone that direction in the first place, because doesn't that, I mean, he's got more head coaching experience than the goofball that's their head coach that suddenly
Sam Pittman?
Sam Pittman.
Yes. Who do you think Arkansas fans would rather be their head coach right now? Sam Pittman or Bobby Petrino?
Bobby Petrino.
100%. 100%.
Don't you feel like there's a glass ceiling with Sam Pittman? Like he's going to get kind of like Lane at Ole Miss in a different way. I mean, Lane's going to manufacture some points. Sam's going to protect the ball. But ultimately, are you really going to make the college football playoff at a smaller school like Ole Miss or Arkansas that can't compare with an Alabama, Florida, or Tennessee or LSU?
Well, certainly not Arkansas. I think you can at Ole Miss. They almost made it last year. Well, they were one game
make it, but I don't think that Lane will ever field a truly competitive team at Ole Miss.
No, he won't. No, but making the playoff, yes, you can do that at Ole Miss. I don't think Sam Pittman could at Arkansas. I think Bobby Petrino could at Arkansas. Absolutely. I mean, Arkansas, he had them finish number 3 in the nation one year.
Okay, let's have this conversation for just a second. Could Madden be the Lamar Jackson at Louisville? Could Madden be the Mike Vick that got Virginia Tech from to wow? And if so, did Tennessee flub up here?
I'll tell you what, if they did, and they might have, they really might have. And if they did, you're going to see Josh Heupel's seat get really, 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 really hot. Dave, what happens if Nico is just looks like is only a modest improvement over last year, this upcoming season? And what happens if Madden takes the starting job away from Taylor Green and just absolutely balls out at Arkansas?
Well, let's just be real honest with you. If Nico is not an all-SEC quarterback this season, has his tenure at Tennessee been a failure?
Yes. And Josh Heupel is going to start getting questioned at that point because he opened up the checkbook for Nico. And look, that's their success is, would you agree it's inextricably tied together, isn't it? Heupel and Nico.
You brought that up recently. I think that Nico could bottom out and that Josh would have an opportunity with another quarterback. So not quite, but it definitely puts the pressure on in 2026 or 27 if Nico's not around and he didn't ball out.
And if Nico does bottom out, though, he could go somewhere else to get another chance too, but it would put the pressure on still. It is. Look, it's going to not look good.
Let's take a look at some of the quarterbacks that are coming back. Jackson Dart's gone, right?
Yes, he might be the best NFL draft prospect, by the way.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I said that last year. DJ Lagway is back. Lenore Sellers is back. Peyton Thorne is gone, correct?
I believe so.
And then include a Texas quarterback in there, which we think will be Arch. Jalen Milroe's gone, correct?
Milroe's gone, and Alabama's going to be better because of it.
Okay, and then Beck. So basically, you have Nico, the Texas quarterback, Lenore Sellers, DJ Lagway. Is it too much to ask that he's all SEC, which means you're one or two out of that 4-man rotation? I don't think that's asking too much.
No, and by the way, Garrett Nussmeier is back too.
Okay, Garrett Nussmeier, I missed him. That's the only one that I think should definitely be ahead of him.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, look, Nico and Garrett Nussmeier should be the two best quarterbacks in the SEC. I get Lenore Sellers. I get what he did at South Carolina. It's hard for me to think that, like, it reminds me very much of a Spencer Rattler, late season flourish a couple of years ago at South Carolina. And then he had all those expectations the next year and they massively underachieved. Remember that? So, like, I'm not high on Lenore Sellers repeating. I've seen this story with Shane Beamer before. So it's, let's just put it out there. And Diego Pavia too, but I don't think Diego Pavia is a threat to Nico for all SEC. Like, no one, like, if Diego Pavia gets all SEC over Nico Iamaleava, then Josh Heupel should hang it up right then. Take his money, go home. You failed as a coach. Like, call it a day. So, look, I think that, but on all things, on the table, I'm going to say this up front. I think Bobby Petrino is just lying. I don't believe a word that comes out of that man's mouth.
You think it's to motivate Talon?
Oh, no. I think it's to motivate Arkansas fans of what they could have if they make him head coach next year. It's to motivate the Arkansas athletic department to say, I've got my next Lamar Jackson, but I could go somewhere else as an offensive coordinator or even as a head coach, but if you guys don't hire me.
Well, the fact that he brought up Lamar Jackson, coaches don't typically do that. They hate comparisons. So either you're right or I'm right, because I do believe firmly that this was orchestrated and contrived. And it was either to motivate Taylor Green or it was either to sell Madden long-term to the Arkansas fans. But whatever the case, this clearly seemed like he had a beef to share with the media, and he did so.
Yeah, I agree. This was and some people do it because they're genuinely trying to do some marketing. Or there's method to the madness. I think there was method to Fulmer's madness when he was comparing Eric Ainge to Peyton Manning. Remember that after Ainge's freshman year? He was trying to prop up
everything that Phillips said to the media was, well, anything strong was planned out. I've used this before where they say, boy, that left side of the offensive line's not doing worth a darn. And they'd come back the next day and they dominate. Oh, they really answered the critics. Wait, I thought they weren't supposed to read the paper. Anyway.
No, yeah, you're right. Exactly. So, but sometimes coaches do it because I think they're stupid. Like Les Miles, I don't know if you know, when Leonard Fournette got to campus at LSU, he was like, Leonard Fournette has the athleticism of Michael Jordan. What? Like, just throw it. I mean, I think Les Miles was just stupid. There was no method to that madness, was there?
No, but with every, okay, well, I mean, I wouldn't. You won a championship. I don't know. That's the LSU rule. It's like, are you a championship coach that didn't go to LSU? Well, then we look at you a little bit different. But no, I mean to me, it's not even close in terms of a coach and how they play the media. I would take Heupel, Saban, Lane over Les Miles.
Yeah, and Petrino too. I mean, as much as I don't like Petrino is smarter with it. You're right. Well, I can't call smart. Petrino makes some really dumb decisions, but not on the field. So no, I totally agree. So I think Petrino is just lying. I think this is blowing smoke, but I do think Madden could be underrated and could be a lot closer to Nico than we think, because I think height's the only thing that held Madden back in his rating.
Nick Saban has won about everything you can in college football, but now he's got an Emmy.
He's nominated for one.
Hold on. I'm getting there. Nick Saban nominated for an Emmy. What did you think of his performance over the weekend or over the season? I thought he did a great job.
I enjoyed his takes, but an Emmy was Nick Saban's all-air talent Emmy worthy? Guys, come on.
I thought he was great.
I think this is absolutely bonkers, and I think this is just because of the name. Okay, Dave, does this have anything to do with how good or bad Nick Saban was?
Yes. Yeah.
No.
Because you don't see Tom Brady getting nominated for an Emmy.
Because Tom Brady was noticeably bad.
Well, he was very average compared to the hype. But no, I don't think that. I think Nick Saban's very deserving of an Emmy. I thought he was calm, cool, and collected. He shared something about football that typically I didn't know once a Saturday. I thought he was great.
I think Nick Saban getting this Emmy or getting nominated for this Emmy, I think this is just a thank you to Nick Saban for helping to save College Game Day by going on the show. And
we have a very Tennessee centric audience, and right now Nick Saban has 2/3 of the vote.
I'm not
very good. You're just hating.
Wait, hold on. I'm not a Saban hate. I actually think he's good on College Game Day. I do, and I love Nick Saban. Emmy worthy, guys. Come on.
Who do you have above him as far as a studio host?
Okay, so he's up against Ryan Fitzpatrick, Jason Kelsey, Richard Sherman, and Jay Wright. It's got to go to Jason Kelsey. That dude is the best on camera anywhere.
No chance. I would give it to Saban.
Really? You would give it? Okay. No. I mean,
Look at Tony. As much as I hated Nick Saban when he was at Alabama, I really liked him on game day. I think, do you have like orange colored glasses on, or what are you doing?
I'm the one who likes Gary Danielson. No one is going to accuse me of having orange colored glasses. That's the whole question. Nick Saban or Gary Danielson? Better analyst.
We might do that. All right. So why do you not like Nick Saban? You just don't like learning things about football?
No, I do like Nick Saban. I'm a fan. I thought he was good. I'll even say I thought he was great on College Game Day. I don't think he was charismatic enough to earn an Emmy. Nick Saban still has that issue on College Game Day of he's so analytical. It's almost like, isn't it kind of like a robot speaking almost? Because it's like, it's like when Nick Saban even tries to get emotional, you can't get the color from it because it's like, I mean, I'm sorry, guys.
Why do you like Jason Kelsey? Is it because you're a big Taylor Swift fan?
First of all, that's his brother who dates Taylor Swift.
Yeah, whatever. Keep it all family.
The Kelsey podcast is awesome. Okay. And Jason Kelsey is hilarious. I'm just a huge fan of his, and he's very honest about things.
Let's go ahead and get this out of the way. Taylor Swift is the worst artist in the history of my lifetime. And you love her. So if you're going to absolutely love anybody that she meets, and I'm assuming she's met all the Kelseys.
Taylor Swift is amazing. Okay. She is incredible. And
by the way, our poll question is this: better analyst, Nick Saban, Gary Danielson? Nick Saban gets 90% of the vote.
90. Well, there was it was 100, and now it's back to 90. Someone accidentally voted for. I think someone accidentally voted for Gary Danielson. It's like, no, I meant to vote for Nick Saban. Guys, I'm not saying Nick Saban's not a great College Game Day analyst, but he's not Emmy worthy. He's still a little awkward as a person. Is he? You met him? Is he not awkward as a person? Somewhat.
Well, a little bit. He's not awkward. He thinks he's the smartest person in the room, so he doesn't feel like he really has to give you a lot of time, which maybe is a smart.
So he thinks you're beneath him when he talks to you.
Yes. Daniel says Caleb is absolutely right here, y'all. Jason all day over Nick.
I mean, yes. And okay, so Jay Wright is basically the Nick Saban for college basketball in the studio. I think Jay Wright is actually pretty good. But I think Nick Saban's better. So you really think this is about Nick Saban's actual talent though on College Game Day? I thought he did good, but you thought it was about that ability. You don't think it's just about Nick Saban? We love the fact that he's on TV now.
I think that he deserves a little bit more leeway because he's new. All right. Timothy has a super chat. Let's bring that up. And all super chats go to Quincy Calhoun's College Fund. A new poll question. Taylor Swift is, and then I'll let you know what that's going to be. Go ahead, Caleb.
Okay. So Steve Sullivan is saying that Taylor is the modern Jessica Simpson, but not as.
Don't read that. Come on. Go ahead and read the super chat. What are you doing?
Oh, well, you got to pull the super chat up first.
Well, I thought you could do that.
Okay.
All right.
So Timothy goes, Caleb, you don't like Saban because he isn't PC and doesn't beat around the bush like 99% of the analysts.
Yes.
Wait, I don't mind that. Are you kidding me? I don't care if you're PC or not.
No,
like
you're too PC.
I'm too PC. Me, Caleb, I am too PC. Are you guys kidding me? Have y'all watched half of the show? I am very controversial, and I love controversy, and I actually love a lot of what Nick Saban does. I actually defend, not all the time, Dave, but believe it or not, I'm one of the few members of the media who defended some of Nick Saban's lash outs at the media during his time as an Alabama coach. Because my thought is sometimes you need to come informed if you're going to ask a question.
Nathaniel, you're absolutely right. Not convinced Swift is not all manufactured. It is. It's all manufactured. All right. So our poll question is what, Caleb?
Okay. So the poll question. Taylor Swift is fantastic. Jewel with better teeth.
That's hot.
Oh my gosh,
Jewel with better teeth.
I thought you said better team. Did you say better teeth?
Yes, better teeth.
No, you said better team. You said better team.
Oh, sorry. Change that. Jewel with better teeth.
Okay. Well, first of all, Taylor Swift is fantastic. I've been with her the whole time.
I sometimes refer to Jewel as Trailer Swift. You didn't catch that, did you? Did anybody like the Trailer Swift line?
Okay, so
following the Trailer Swift line, what is?
I got sorry, Trailer Swift. Oh God, no, I'm catching it. I'm trying to get the poll question up. Okay,
New poll question. What is it?
Okay, I gotta call out, but okay, can I say this though, real quick? Because I loved when Taylor Swift was doing country music, and all the country music fans were like, "Oh, I hate Taylor Swift. She's too poppy for me as a country artist." And then all the country stuff they listened to was bland bubblegum pop country too. Like they would say Taylor Swift.
Anyway, I don't care about Taylor Swift. What I love about Jewel is that her teeth are kind of like the Spice Girls. They're different colors and they're doing their own thing.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Pulled that off Nikki Glazer. Trailer Swift. There you go. Jewel is more talented. Thank you, David. You're absolutely correct.
Anyways, to the point of Nick Saban, though, I just don't think. I think but Emmy worthy just seems like a high bar. The other guys on there, by the way, who's up against, I think I mentioned Jay Wright and Jason Kelsey, but Ryan Fitzpatrick, Richard Sherman, and are the other two. Ryan Fitzpatrick and Richard.
Let me ask our message board this. Let's change the poll question. Where does it stand right now?
Jewel with better teeth at 90%. Fantastic at 10%.
Okay. Jewel has what, Steve? Tats, not what I think you said. Okay. So would you rather drive a 9-inch nail into your eyeball or sit through a Taylor Swift concert? I would have to say the 9-inch nail because I've had to sit through one of those things and it was god awful.
Her concerts are amazing.
I've never gone to the restroom so many times in my life. Just
really?
Pray that it was over. Just praying that I would come back and it would. That's what I was shooting for. It never happened. Tennessee.
Didn't you see a Guns N' Roses concert when they were like 1000% strung out on drugs?
Oh, the Use Your Illusions tour?
Yeah, like didn't you see the one where they were like 70 years old, basically still trying to make it stay relevant?
Oh no, I've done that. No. Last time I saw GNR was 93.
Oh, okay. I thought you saw
92,
them. I thought you saw them a couple years ago for some reason.
No, I went to see Metallica, and they did the best they could, but it wasn't.
Yeah, okay. That she's like 100. They're like 175 years old.
Yeah, but I believe they could beat the hell out of Taylor Swift. They need.
Oh wow! Oh, so they could fight her. So that's so. Yes, a bunch of dudes could fight a woman. Wow, real. That makes them such a great band.
Yeah, you catch her during her costume change. She's easy. Just bam. Just take a base upside her head.
Catch her during her costume change. So sexually harass her and then beat her up. Okay.
I never said that. All right. So the UPS store Hardin Valley, helping individuals and small businesses, wide range of products and services, locally owned and operated. As we broadcast from the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studios, the show represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, banksandjones.com. When it comes to Ted Russell Ford Lincoln, I'm telling you what, they're East Tennessee's largest volume dealer. So they have what you need on the lot right now, whether it's a new truck or car, whether it's a used one. They've got the pre-owned certified. I love those. My Jeep is fantastic. You'll be completely taken care of. And right now, tariffs aren't affecting anything on the lot. So you might want to jump on there. Actually, not might. You need to jump on there now. Ted Russell Ford Lincoln on Parkside Drive and Kingston Pike. TedRussellFord.net, TedRussellLincoln.net. Check out the inventory that you can see online, and you will be very glad you did. Syracuse, Tennessee's first opponent, is named a starting quarterback. What does that mean with Caleb Calhoun? I'm Dave Hooker. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you haven't done so to this point. 2 minutes off Look Sports.
Like a blast from the past, the Super Dealer is back. Look to the skies, Knoxville. The Super Dealer is fighting for price, service, and the American-made. Ted Russell Ford is East Tennessee's #1 volume Ford dealer. Save up to $4,350 on a new Ford F-150 XLT, or get into a new Ford Ranger XLT with no payments for 90 days. Come see the Super Dealer today at either Ted Russell Ford location, Parkside Drive, or Kingston Pike.
Sports Treasures in North Knoxville is one of the South's largest sports cards and memorabilia dealers, featuring over 10 million sports cards from vintage to modern. Sports Treasures carries a full line of hobby boxes, singles, autographed memorabilia, Tennessee Vol collectibles, fan cave decorations, and so much more. See a museum full of collectibles at Sports Treasures, 4819 North Broadway in Fountain City, and Sports Treasures on Facebook. Sports Treasures, where the real sports fan goes to shop.
Community banking is about location and much more. It's about family. We reside in your community. We are a part of your community. At Commercial Bank, our commitment extends beyond the walls of our branches. It's displayed each day in the opportunities we provide, the money we give back, and the time we commit, all to help improve the lives of the people, families, and businesses that make our communities great. Commercial Bank, life made better.
Double D Piping provides full-service fire protection on any scale. From residential homes to government facilities, we can assist any customer through design, fabrication, installation, inspection, and demonstration of fire suppression systems. With 30 years of service across 5 states and a full staff with over 40 years experience, our quality can't be beaten. Don't get caught watching what you could have prevented. Call Double D Piping.
And here we go. This was a huge waste of time, like bringing a married guy to Vegas.
Then there's this guy, the Dave Hooker Show with Caleb Calhoun. Represented by T. Scott Jones, banksandjones.com, Tennessee's trial attorney. From the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studio, East Tennessee's #1 volume and customer service dealer, Ted Russell Ford and TedRussellLincoln.net. Now to the Dave Hooker Show on Off the Hook Sports.
From the message board, Derek says, who has seen the Red Hot Chili Peppers with tube socks? You know where they put the tube socks, Caleb?
Where do they put the tube socks?
You don't want to know.
Oh, wait, didn't they do that at Woodstock 99?
Yeah, I think I've seen them do it in person, too, at Thompson Bowling Arena, as a matter of fact. That's where you put the sock over your, and then you just don't.
It kind of comes, and then at Woodstock, it came off.
Yeah, that's no good. But I know that I've been mooned by Tommy Lee in Thompson Bowling Arena. I don't know if I've been socked by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I'm fine with not. I'm perfectly fine with not being socked by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. To me, there were two bands, just to out them, Pearl Jam and Red Hot Chili Peppers, that showed up to Thompson Bowling Arena and said, this is Knoxville. It's in between two big cities, and we're going to mail this one in. And I love Pearl Jam.
I could see that. They would mail them. They would mail that in between. I never thought about that. But
like you got Atlanta and Nashville, or you got Atlanta and Cincinnati, and like the bus can easily stop, pull over at Thompson Bowling Arena and make a little bit more money. Let's do exactly 1 minute or 1 hour and 45 minutes.
And the manager probably does it, and the band's probably pissed at the manager for booking this one because they're like, we really don't want to do this. And yeah, there's just a quick story, like Blink-182 had an album, Take Off Your Pants.
Oh gosh, don't tell me like Blink-182.
Oh, I love Blink-182. I love.
You have the worst music. I mean, really worst music taste.
They had a funny. So basically, they based on their contract, the album length was shorter than it was required to be for them to get all their pay. So they went back and re-recorded like the day before they found out, and they put two very vulgar, nonsense making songs in the album that were so offensive and horrified the record company. And it was 1 minute each just to hit the threshold. It was hilarious. But yes, Blink-182 was amazing, and they were the most influential artists of today in music.
That's pure idiocy. Taylor Swift is fantastic, or Jewel with better teeth. Jewel with better teeth getting 84% of the vote. It's time for Bank on It, brought to you by Commercial Bank. Tennessee is in the 10 to 25 range of the way too early top 25 basketball rankings. I have no problem with them being there now, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you that Tennessee will finish in the top 10 at the end of the year. The reason I believe that, I've seen it 2 years in a row with Dalton Connect, and what Tennessee was able to do in restocking its roster this past year. I believe Tennessee can do that again under Rick Barnes. So I'm betting on Rick Barnes. Bank on It, brought to you by Commercial Bank. Tennessee will be in the top 10 at the end of this upcoming basketball season. What say you?
I agree. Right now, the way too early rankings for Tennessee basketball range from number 10 to number 25. They are number 10 on the 247 Sports preseason rankings. That came out after the Jacoby Gillespie commitment. Number 17 on the Fox Sports preseason rankings. Number 18 in USA Today. Number 19 in Sporting News. Number 21 in ESPN. Number 24 in Sports Illustrated. And number 25 with The Athletic.
Okay, here's the weird part about this whole transfer portal thing and the time it happens. Is this even an accurate time to be trying to judge teams moving forward? I mean, Tennessee could have, this just came out, and Tennessee could have another 2 transfer portal guys come in.
No, but to be fair, that's why they qualify it with the way too early.
Okay.
They're acknowledging it's way too. It's like Talladega Nights when he's like, I said with all due respect.
Well, no, I understand
it's
that.
in the Geneva Convention.
I understand that, but also, Caleb, typically I know who the roster is going to be before we do way too early. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it.
I'm not saying I have to know everything. And in football, a guy like Teelan J. Dixon could come in, and that might affect your rankings, although it didn't. But Caleb, I don't know. This seems weird to me, and it's because the basketball calendar is all screwy. All of the powers that be wanted to make sure that football was taken care of, and basketball is having transfer portal open during the NCAA tournament.
No, yes, exactly. Well, sorry, spoiler alert. Football matters more.
True.
Football makes everything else go. So look, it is way too early, but even with football, they do it. They do it in January after the season ends, and there's a whole nother transfer portal window after that. And I just said a whole nother, so I need to go shoot myself in the head now because I hate that word because it's not a word.
What's the word you used?
A whole nother. That's not a phrase. I hate that phrase, and I cannot believe I just said it.
It's okay.
So, anyways, I do think that this is why it's way too early. But I think Tennessee's not done in the portal. And I think when you see who they get, they're by the way, they're going for Rodney Rice, another Maryland transfer, Jacoby Gillespie's teammate. He was another solid player last year, so that would be another scoring guard for them. He could be this year's Chaz Lanier, honestly. And I think that if they get Rodney Rice and Jacoby Gillespie, you're all of a sudden talking about a really, really, really good team that's going to shoot up. And again, I still think Rick Barnes hasn't made his splash transfer pickup yet. So these are like, he's getting guys. Here's the crazy part about what Rick Barnes is doing this year in the transfer portal. Because he's had such success the last couple of years with the guys at the smaller levels dominating, going to the larger levels, he's now get guys that have dominated at the larger levels choosing to go to his school. That stands out. And I think when you see what he does in the transfer portal the rest of the way, you're going to see a top 10 team. And I think people are now starting to catch on to what I've been catching on to, which is, it's weird to say this about a 71-year-old who they were betting against for 10 years because he was known as second round Rick. But now there's like a renaissance of don't bet against Rick Barnes. Given what
I thought there was a real, I don't know that renaissance is the right word though, Caleb. I thought during the tournament, Seth Greenberg the day after had Tennessee going to the Final Four. I think he ended up flipping that. There were several guys that had Tennessee going to the the Final Four. There are several guys that had Tennessee going to the Final Four. I get the feeling that Rick Barnes is incredibly likable, and I get the feeling that people want Rick Barnes to see more success because of what he's done for the game. But I think there were a lot of heart picks in that as well.
There were.
It's why I told you. No, I'm sorry to interrupt. It's why I told you I thought that Oklahoma, Houston would out Tennessee, and that's what happened.
Yes, no, and look, but then you saw the flaw in Kelvin Sampson in this style, the last play of the game, because guess what? Kelvin Sampson drew a play for one shot, and when that shot wasn't available, Houston melted down in that last possession against Florida Monday night.
They did something in that last play was goofy. They did something to telegraph that play.
Florida read it, but if a play is read, you usually have a backup you go to right then. You're like, if it's not there, do this.
Well, I'm not arguing that, but they melted down.
Yeah, and it wasn't there. So, look, I think that Rick Barnes, there's a lot of we like Rick, but you see that with players too. Look at Jemai Mashak and Sakai Ziegler. You didn't see that for what you just brought up with Kelvin Sampson with Houston's players. You saw them saying, we want to get this for Rick Barnes. They felt that Rick Barnes deserved this. And by the way, here's the thing. You and I know this. Rick Barnes is in it for those guys. The whole reason Rick Barnes coaches is to build relationships with people like Jemai Mashak and Sakai Ziegler. And I assume they're graduating this year. I can guarantee you Rick Barnes will be there for them when they graduate, and we'll do photo ops with them and everything. That's what he does. That's who he is. Right. And so I think I think that resonates with a lot of really good players hitting the portal.
Okay, for some reason, a new poll question, because the discussion is in our message board. Do you like your grits salty and spicy? In other words, I like them with Tabasco on them, or do you like your grits sweet? Caleb?
Oh, salty and spicy.
There you go. Other poll question, when it comes to Caleb's music taste, I feel sorry for him with 69% of the vote. It's just bad with 20% of the vote. He's spot on 10% of the vote. Caleb, you got to do some work on the music taste.
No, I don't. I'm sorry. I like my music. I like what I like. And yes, I get Travis Barker as a Kardashian now, and I don't like that. But I didn't like when Kanye married Kim Kardashian. I certainly don't like Kanye now with the stuff he's saying. But guess what? I'm not going to stop listening to College Dropout. I'm sorry. I like the album too much. Too good of an album.
Horrible.
That's a great album.
Bunch of people trying to do grunge music that have no pain and suffering in their life.
Who?
Blink-182. That's the
they
whole
never tried to do grunge. They were
that's
punk
the whole
pop.
It's pop grunge is what that is.
No, it's punk pop. It's punk pop. It's like they acknowledge it's kind of bubblegum pop, but like punk with a bubblegum pop twist. Green Day started it. So yeah, I was a fan of the punk pop phase. Loved it. Green Day, Blink-182, Sum 41, Avril Lavigne. I'll listen to Avril Lavigne all day. Paramore, Fall Out Boy.
Paramore seen in concert and still terrible.
Who?
All right, Bank on It, brought to you by Commercial Bank. I'll go ahead and say it. As long as Tennessee has Rick Barnes, they will finish in the top 10 in the final AP voting. Bank on It, brought to you by Commercial Bank. Member FDIC, life made better.
Commercial Bank is your neighborhood bank. What makes us different from other banks? We understand that every customer has unique opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. We don't expect you to fit into the same box as the next person or business. Whether it's purchasing a home, saving for your child's future, or planning for your next vacation, we're with you every step of the way to navigate life's big decisions. Commercial
All right. So the message board, Dylan says some 41 references Caleb is growing on me. Don't do that. Nathaniel says, where's Caleb when I believe I can fly, or remix to Ignition?
Okay, we're not doing R. Kelly talk here, guys.
Okay, true story though. I was playing racquetball one time at National Fitness Center, who's a fine sponsor of this program, and R. Kelly walked in.
Really?
Very strange. Very a lot taller than you would think in person. And he stopped
Wait,
by.
the racquetball community tends to skew older. What the heck was R. Kelly doing in there?
Yeah, he was in the wrong place. He went straight to the nursery. Anyway, all right. So getting back to the topic at hand.
That was quick, Dave. I mean, credit to you. That was a quick one.
It was so bizarre that he was there. I mean, trust me, I got a million of them.
You got a million R. Kelly stories?
Of that one instance, I did, because his bus got stuck in the National Fitness Center parking lot because somebody didn't know how to drive it. And so he was stuck there for like 2.5 hours. And that's when I used to play racquetball for 2 hours. And I would go in the locker room, to do whatever, use the restroom, whatever. And he was like surrounded by guys, and he's sitting there going, practicing some song. It was strange. It was very, very strange. Anyway, where are we, Caleb? Tennessee in the top 10, as long as Rick Barnes is a head coach. Do you agree or disagree?
Just next year, I think they're going to be in top 10. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it'll be every year, but I think they're going to get one more player. I think they're going to get 2 more transfers that are high profile. And when they do that, they're going to be in the top 10 starting next year again. And one of the things Rick Barnes shows is with these transfers, he really gets them to play together well. Like, the credit John Calipari gets for getting those 1-and-done 5-stars to play together, which, by the way, I always felt was overrated. Like, was there really any coaching skill to getting like 5 lottery picks to play together?
No. And one could be really bad, because I've been the bad one, and I've had 4 really good players, and I know to pass.
Exactly. So it's like when people are like, oh, he gets them to play together. Okay, these are like guys who've been playing AAU ball with high school ball since they were like 9. They know what to do. Calipari rolls the ball out, but Barnes gets these veterans that look. They're veterans, and they're not like that. They developed in a system of college basketball. They are used to a style. But I think Barnes, because they're veterans, they buy into what he's doing, and they are able to play together very quickly in basketball. As I'm saying it out loud, just in general, though, if you're a good basketball player, you don't need as much time to gel as you do in football, do you?
No. I mean, it helps. I mean, if you go back and you watch that UNLV team, I didn't think they played together except defensively. Now, this is a little bit before your time, I would think. This early 90s. They played an amoeba defense, which was essentially – you had 4 guys that played zone, and you had 1 guy that would pressure the ball. So they had great chemistry there, but did they have great chemistry on offense? No, they were ISOing guys and clearing out, and it was that sort of game. So you just have to be really, really talented. I think you and I probably thought, at least I know you did, that Dubar and Igor and Chaz, even if they didn't play together to an optimal level, would bring enough talent to the court that they would be really good. And in turn, even though Dubar didn't completely pan out, they were.
Yeah. And the funny thing is the reverse happened. Igor and Dubar both were underwhelming, but they all played together well because they were so experienced. An example from the NBA level was, I mean, Dave, you're a Celtics fan. When the Celtics got KG and Ray Allen, all they needed was an offseason, and they played like they've been playing together for 20 years, that whole season.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I mean, they fit together perfectly well, and Tennessee and Rick Barnes ended up making the best of it, and I've got to give him complete credit for that. So it's Bank on It, brought to you by Commercial Bank, member FDIC. Life made better. Syracuse is named their starting quarterback. What can you tell me about that Orangeman? Are we still allowed to call him Orangeman, or what do we call him?
It's still the Orange.
Oh, the Orange. I'm sorry. Yeah, the Orange. Go Big Cuse. All right, so what can you tell us about Syracuse's newest starting quarterback? That'll be Tennessee's opener on August the 30th, I believe.
Yes, it is Ricky Collins. He transferred from LSU. Was Garrett Nussmeier's backup the last 2 years. He's from Baton Rouge specifically. Now, I'm going to say this about Ricky Collins. Ricky Collins has completed 100% of his passes in college football so far.
That's amazing. How many has he thrown? 2?
7.
Yeah. 7.
He's 7 of 7 for 38 yards in 2 seasons. So Ricky Collins is highly efficient. Okay, in all seriousness, Ricky Collins was a 3-star recruit among transfers, but he was a 4-star coming out of high school. So there is a lot.
He was a top 15 quarterback as well.
Yeah, so there is a lot of here, and Fran Brown and Syracuse. I mean, they are. He did a very good job last year with Kyle McCord. Kyle McCord was run out of Ohio State, and Fran Brown took him, and they went 10-3 last year and did shockingly good, to the point where they upset Miami late in the year, Dave. And remember, that upset is why Miami didn't make the college football playoff.
Yes.
So, I mean, Fran Brown is a very, very good, underrated coach. I don't think he's getting the props he deserves for what he just did last year. And so he was the Georgia defensive backs coach, and he just had an amazing first season. I think
I will say this as it pertains to Tennessee. I don't think this is good because you don't have much tape on this kid. You don't know what he does particularly well. I mean, how much tape are we talking about? 7 passes thrown? That's it?
Yes. 7
you're
passes
not going to
thrown.
get anything from that. You can't go back to high school. I don't think it's good for Tennessee that you've got a guy coming out of left field, or in this case, Baton Rouge, to be Syracuse's starting quarterback. I think this is troublesome.
Oh, this is very troublesome. No, I totally agree.
Very.
Well, I mean, it is because, again, I can't even get from this. It is because he's listed as a dual threat quarterback. Now, he hasn't shown that at all at the college level. He hasn't shown anything about being a dual threat, but he is a mobile quarterback. And Dave, you know this as well as I do. A good offensive coordinator with a dual threat quarterback, that dual threat quarterback can hit you by surprise the first year he's playing, right? And
yeah, and I will take it a step further as well. I think that any quarterback that you don't have a book on is going to be tough to defend for 4 to 6 quarters. I think it takes you almost a full game, and then the next opponent benefits from what the initial opponent did.
I agree, which is why now it's even more shocking that Fran Brown wanted to do a spring game with Colorado. Like, don't you want to hide Ricky Collins at this point?
Yeah, but that was just for funsies. That was to get his name in the news.
Probably.
You knew it was never going to happen.
I thought it might, but I will say that. Look, I think that the interesting thing about this is again, Ricky Collins is not at all going to be scared of the moment. You know, he grew up in Baton Rouge. He played in Louisiana. And the thing that Fran Brown that stood out to me the most was that the biggest reason now you tell me if this is a good sign or a bad sign. The first thing he said about naming Ricky Collins was the players are behind him. And I guess what he means by that is that the
players were behind Rick Clausen. Unfortunately, none of the players had a throwing arm, and neither did Rick.
Yeah, well, Ricky Collins actually has a throwing arm, though. So I mean, no one's going to accuse Ricky Collins of being Rick Clausen. Okay, Ricky Collins was a highly talented kid coming out of high school.
Yeah, just because players rally behind somebody, you should rally behind who I tell you to, because I'm your head coach. Would be my answer to that.
I agree with you on that. And so maybe that's a bad sign for LSU. If he's listening to what the players want, that's not really what you want to do, right? But look, you're right. It is really, really hard to know what's going to happen. I think it's more important from Tennessee's perspective, and this is a big thing, it's the pressure in the Syracuse game is going to be on their offense. They got to score a lot of points. Syracuse last year they scored 34 points a game, I believe. They gave up 30 points a game. So Tennessee needs to try to take advantage of that. That was an ACC play. So I think Tennessee could take advantage of that. But I could see you could potentially see a high scoring game in this one.
Well, if Tennessee's defense gives up, even without Jermod McCoy, I'm gonna pretend he's not playing, because I don't believe coaches when they say he'll be ready. And Josh Heupel's lied to us on more than one occasion, Cooper Mays. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that if Syracuse, even without Jermod McCoy, if he's not playing in that game, that if Tennessee allows them to score more than 20 points, they've had an off day. This should be a 42 to 17 point win.
Yes. No, I totally agree. Also, Syracuse loses a lot of talent on offense across the board, so they probably are going to have a drop off from last year's 10-3 season. I think Mercedes-Benz Stadium, let's be honest, Dave, it's going to be mostly Tennessee fans in that stadium overwhelmingly.
Yeah, but it's boring, so you won't know who they're rooting for.
Oh yeah, that's right. So I think Tennessee is going to I think Tennessee's going to have all the fans. They'll have a more developed offense. Syracuse, as is pointed out, has lost their top 2 receivers. They're unproven everywhere. Yes, that's hard. That's hard for you to figure out a new quarterback, but I mean, I don't think Tennessee's defensive schemes were that complex last year.
Last year, Syracuse was 10-3. We'll take a quick look at them. They closed the season with 4 straight wins. Their losses were Stanford at home in a close game, 26-24. Pitt on the road, 41-13. Boston College, 37-13 on the road there in Massachusetts. So I guess their best win would probably be Miami, 42-38, the last game of the year. Was that their best win?
Yes, that was. And that was a heck of a win, too.
And you maybe could go Washington State in the bowl game, but again, bowl games, I don't know who's motivated, who's not. The other teams they beat were UConn, Cal, Virginia Tech, NC State, UNLV, Holy Cross. Man, Georgia Tech, Ohio, they really didn't have an opportunity for a quality win.
No, they didn't. But the one chance they had, they took it. I mean,
schedule. I feel sorry for the beat reporters.
It's the ACC. This is what you're dealing with there now. They're waiting for basketball. I don't feel sorry for the beat reporters because then they get to go cover Big East basketball or ACC basketball. That's always fun. Even when they're down. So but I mean, that's what you sign up for when you cover football up there. Stephen A. Smith is one of his first jobs was covering Temple football. He said that I still have PTSD from covering them in the 90s.
A lot of access, and that's always good.
Yeah.
I just this Syracuse team, Tennessee will be considerably better. If you were to compare Tennessee's talent level to an SEC school, where would you have them?
Tennessee's talent level to an SEC.
I'm sorry, Syracuse's talent.
Oh, Syracuse's talent. Well, let's see. Let's think about this. I mean, they're not better than Tennessee. They're not better than.
Yeah, let me throw this at you for a second. So they're not better than Alabama or Georgia.
Nope. Nor Texas.
Nor Texas.
Nor Tennessee.
Nor Tennessee. What about 2 teams that Tennessee faced, Oklahoma and Arkansas?
They're better than Oklahoma. I mean, they're better than Arkansas. I don't think they're more talented than Oklahoma.
Yeah, I could go either way on Arkansas.
If they just have. Yeah, let's just look at Tennessee's SEC schedule and who would Syracuse beat. I mean, we can go down the list. They wouldn't beat Georgia. It's a toss-up with Mississippi State. I think they'd beat Arkansas if they had Arkansas at home. I think they could beat Kentucky on the road.
Nathaniel says Vandy. I think they're a little bit better than Vandy. To me, I'd have
a lot better than Vandy.
Yeah, I would have them somewhere along the Mississippi State.
Yeah, I think so too.
You're going to get the guys that want to stay close to you, and recruiting in Jersey isn't that bad. It's pretty good. So you're going to get the guys that want to stay to you and then stay with you and didn't go somewhere else. Stay close to home.
Here's where Syracuse would. If you're talking about Syracuse as a program, I mean, they've always had trouble trying to build a really good football program, but they've had good football players over the years. I mean, this is the program with Jim Brown and
Daryl Johnston
and Donovan McNabb.
Daryl Johnston. You even remember who Daryl Johnston is?
No, I do not.
Oh, man. He was the fullback for the leading rusher in NFL history.
Oh, Walter Payton?
No, that would be Emmitt Smith.
All time. Okay.
No.
I'm pulling him up now. Jeez, he looks old to have played in the 90s. I'm not going to lie. Sorry. But Jim Brown, Daryl Johnston, and Donovan McNabb, Keith Bullock, Dwight Freeney. I mean, this is a program with a lot of tradition. But Dave, just because it's a vanity thing, in about a year or so, Elon Musk is going to want to make Rutgers a powerhouse in football because that's his alma mater, and he's going to throw like a gajillion dollars at him.
I'm of the opinion that I do not know what's going through Elon Musk's mind. Thank you very much, Daniel Moose. That's right. That's what you cheer when Daryl Johnston gets on the field. Does anybody remember? Okay, I'm going to do this real quick. So we never had anybody. Okay, we never had anybody reach out and get the John Henderson helmet. So we gave it away. We did the drawing and all that. Nobody did that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to the next person that can tell me who replaced Daryl Johnston at fullback and was highly touted, but Tennessee beat the bejesus out of in the opening game of the 1998 season because the guy was soft, unlike Daryl Johnston. If anybody can name him, then I'll hook you up with the John Henderson helmet. What about that? That's a pretty good deal.
Pretty good deal.
Yeah. So
Pretty
go
good
ahead
deal.
and fill that out right now. He was good at catching the ball, but man, when Tennessee came out there and laid their hat on him, he was absolutely over it. And Dwight Freeney also played for Cuse.
Yes, he did. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I brought up Dwight Freeney.
Okay.
Yeah. Dwight Freeney played for Syracuse. And Marvin Harrison, the most overrated receiver of all time, who Peyton Manning turned into a Hall of Famer, who would have been a forgettable receiver if Peyton Manning wasn't throwing him the ball.
Seems a little strong.
I'm a Marvin. I'm not a Marvin hater. I think he's a good guy, good team guy. Outside of when he's carrying guns and shooting people.
Yeah, I'm trying to give this helmet away. Give me the answer. Give me the answer right now.
I don't have the answer.
You don't know who it is?
No.
Why do I remember? No, it's not Robert Thomas. It's not Will B. Come on.
Who would remember this? Like after the Cowboys, they were irrelevant after this.
Oh, well, I was covering the 98 team.
Oh.
I knew who replaced Daryl Johnston. Yes, David Speaks, Rob Conrad. Absolutely correct. David, here is my email. I'll get you this helmet. We appreciate that, as we're live each and every week on YouTube and wherever you tweet. We're going to get Caleb Calhoun a throat lozenge before tomorrow's program. We'll visit with Jimmy Hyams, and then we'll close out the week with Will West. The show represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney. BanksandJones.com, broadcasting from the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studios, East Tennessee's largest volume dealer. Check them out. No tariffs affecting what you